Hey Dimitris, it's Madonna here, and I've got David as your surrogate. So we've been going through our notes, and the thing that Muscle tested up first is to start with some survival stuff. So because of the nervous system issues, we'll start there and then sort of see where we are from a structural perspective after that, and with things like the thyroid, the diabetes, and gear like that. So let's go have a look. And the structural balancing, because sometimes once you take a layer of the stress off, and David's a holistic counsellor, so he'll probably be throwing in some thoughts as it comes through, because sometimes when he is surrogate for someone else, as he's feeling what's going on, thoughts come to him, so that's all part of the process as well.
I've got similar.
And actually, as he was reading it, he could have written this for himself. not quite all of it, but some of it.
2 stents, not 4.
Yeah, only 2 stents so far. Hopefully no more. Okay. So let's have it. Firstly, let's get your energy online. Okay. I'm 100% Dimitris. I'm 100% Dimitris.
I'm 100% Dimitris.
And say it again. I'm 100% Dimitris.
I'm 100% Dimitris.
And hold out for me. Hold together. Beautiful. So we're in. So I'm going to scan the notes that we've had over the last few emails and see where we need to get started. Okay, so something about the sweating might be linked in with stress, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system and that sort of thing. Yeah, so the 2 things to get started with for you is the nervous system. Okay, and hold up for me. Hold up for me. That one's okay. That's adrenals. Actually, let me check bladder energy. Hold. Oh, that one's not so awesome. Hold. What about tibials? Hold. Tibials are okay, but peroneus brevis not so awesome. What about the foot proprioceptors? Oh, okay. They're not great either.
Almost.
So almost, yeah. So it's around that 50% energy. So when we stand on our feet, we're switching on the proprioceptors for 600 muscles in the body. So a really easy thing that you can do whenever you feel like it is giving your feet a good massage from the soft part of your feet going out in all directions. And that helps to switch on your foot proprioceptors. And because you work lifting things all day in your job, with all of that pressure and weight, you can imagine your foot proprioceptors need to be switched on so that all the muscles stay nice and healthy. And then we had the peroneus brevis on the outside of the feet as well. Breathe in, breathe out and push. And the peroneus brevis relate to bladder meridian. Breathe in, breathe out and push. And breathe in, breathe out and push. Okay, so again, foot proprioceptors and hold. And we put the PEMF mat down as well, so hopefully throughout this session your whole aura and energy sort of just feels lighter and less cluttered. So this energy with all the chakra crystals and things, it'll be part of the balance as well.
Semi-precious stones lying on them.
Lying on a whole 2 meters of semi-precious stones, so really beautiful. Okay, so now let's check the survival actually, let me ask. So is survival patterns next priority? Yep. Okay, so let's just go in. So hold up for me. That's survival switching. That one's okay. Same spot on the spine. Hold. That's deep survival. That's okay. And hold. That one's hidden deep survival. So there's a hidden deep survival pattern in there. Okay. So with a hidden deep survival pattern, what that does, the unconscious brain is trying to keep you safe from death. So it keeps all of your mechanisms in your body switched on so that you are constantly alert and looking for the next thing to go wrong. The problem with that is long term that it can make your whole nervous system feel overly amplified. So it's easy to feel angry or upset or verbal or explosive, you know, because the nervous system literally is primed for the next time the lion, the tiger, the bear is going to come and eat us. So anger is one of those things that's actually quite protective when we are in survival, whereas depression is useless, you know. So let's go and have a look and see what we need to do. Is there more information we need to do for the deep hidden survival pattern before we kick in there? Nope, we can go straight into the survival pattern balance. Yes, we can. Okay, so EMC, MMC, PVSS, periventricular survival system, which means the sensory nervous system is overloaded. Now, because we know a couple of the other things that's going on, what I might do before I do this is just put in some of the other joints that you're having problems with. So I'll pop in the energy of the shoulders, of the wrists for carpal tunnel, of the hips and knees and things like that. So I'll just stack these in. Okay, so right arm. Left arm. And I'll do a similar thing with the legs.
What's the carpal tunnel?
Carpal tunnel is the calcium buildup that builds up in the nerves going from the forearm to the wrists to the hands. So, you know, people get carpal tunnel operations and they're out of action for 6 weeks.
Like an arthritis thing?
Well, it's a laying down of toxins and then calcium on the nerves. So it sort of ends up, it depletes the energy going through the forearm down into the wrist. So what we do to test the carpal tunnel, hold your thumb and pinky together nice and strong, hold. Yeah, it's not too bad, but it's not 100%, relax. And the next one, no. Yep, these two, and hold. Not 100%, these two, and hold. That one's okay, and hold. So the pointer finger and the middle finger are okay, but the other two weren't locking as well as they should be. And again, thumb and pinky, hold. No. Thumb and ring finger, hold. No. Thumb and middle finger, yeah, thumb and middle's okay, and hold, and thumb and pointer's okay. So I just want that energy in there. I'll do more corrections with that in a minute. Actually, I might also stack in the thyroid because of the thyroidectomy as well as the heart. So David, we need W arms. So hold back at the wrist for minus all supplements, minus all medications. Hold back at the wrist. Okay. Hold back at the wrist. Okay. So that was an unlock of the thyroid energy. Now hold down at the wrist for me. Hold. Yeah, right. No, not. Hold down. No, sec, relax. That's it. Hold down at the wrist. Yeah. So the heart energy is unlocking, which means it's under 50% energy with the heart and under 50% energy with the thyroid without your medications. Actually diabetes as well, so I'll also check pancreas. So hold into the hip for me, David. No. And hold in. No.
I'll try. I'm really strong too.
Yeah, no, normally these are absolutely rock solid with David, so there's just not a lot of energy in there. Okay, so now, again, is there anything we need to have online before we kick on into the survival pattern? No. So the periventricular survival pattern is about sensory nervous system overload. So when you've had a lot of pain in your life, when you've had a lot of trauma like heart attacks and operations and, you know, organs removed, the whole nervous system starts looking out for the next thing wrong, even at that subconscious and unconscious level, because it's like, holy crap, what else do I have to put up with?
Like hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance, 100%.
Which is the nervous system staying on it.
Yes, so the nervous system is primed for stress so that you don't miss anything. So it's a protective mechanism. Okay, so the first little area in the unconscious, the survival pattern showing up is called the orbitofrontal cortex. This little area is to do with conflict. Hold out for me. Again, no energy from in there. So the orbitofrontal cortex, it's a 6-second loop in the brain that is waiting for logical and creative connections. So when our nervous system is so stressed and traumatized, and it's hypervigilant, we're not using our logical and creative hemispheres of our brain. They've sort of been powered down so that the survival instincts are up and running at all times. So are you cold, David? Do you need a blanket?
No, it's nothing warm of it. I'm
Okay.
on their thing.
Yeah, okay.
Feeling great now.
Excellent. Yeah, so with this, it's, excuse me. Yeah, so it's with the periventricular survival system, it gets to the spot where the brain doesn't want to see one more thing, doesn't want to hear one more thing, doesn't want to feel one more thing in the body. So it's like overload of the nervous system. So that first one, the orbitofrontal cortex, is a sign that the logic and creativity just isn't kicking in when we're under pressure and when we're trying to find solutions for things. Okay, the next area showing up is called the subclassal gyrus. Now this one is about the spectrum of anger, so from depression to full-on rage and anger. So when our nervous system is quite stressed, it's easy to lose the plot at things that really don't require it. Sometimes outbursts are quite appropriate, like when my computer switches off 3 times in a day just for fun. Mercury's in retrograde. I threw that one out at one of my logical clients last night. He said, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, it's one of those things hippies say when stuff isn't working. But it's a good excuse to go to. My computer hates me." No, it doesn't. Mercury is in retrograde. Yeah, so this little one, the subclassal gyrus, yeah, it's a huge spectrum of energy, but it's a nuclei in the brain that really stores how we cope under survival patterns from a anger perspective. And what it's doing is switching off the pleasure reward centers. So when that is switched off, it means that the nervous system, we can still enjoy stuff, it just takes a little bit of extra time to get there. Okay, let's go have a look. Okay, the next little area showing up is the anterior cingulate gyrus. So this is about how we look out there socially in the world when we're under stress and pressure. And hold out for me. Okay, so pain and punishment circuit. Okay, there's because of that, for whatever reason, and I'm not quite sure what this is about yet, but that one is linked into an old pain and punishment circuit. So something from earlier in your life or childhood or even in the womb that has created a a pain and punishment circuit. What it's doing is messing with the lymphatics. Now, some of the symptoms that you have were about the joints and things like that, things like your wrist with the carpal tunnel, the shoulders, the lower back and that sort of thing. A lot of joints don't have their own lymphatic system, so toxins can build up in joints, and unless we are sweating, and I know heat's a problem for you, but when we're sweating, that actually helps to release toxins. It moves the energy through the body, but I would suspect, because yours has been irritating you for so long, that you have a constantly running sympathetic nervous system. Okay, next little area we're going to in the periventricular survival system is the reticular activating system. So this one controls what hormones you're releasing or shutting down when you're under stress and pressure. And the first thing that's showing up is low serotonin, high serotonin, low serotonin. Yeah, so a lack of serotonin output because we make most of it in the small intestine. So serotonin is our nurturing, calming, it's nurturing and calming. So when we feel heightened and on edge a lot of the time with our nervous system, the serotonin just isn't kicking in. A lot of medications can actually mess with our ability to create serotonin in the gut, and even things as simple as thyroxine. And I know you've had a thyroidectomy, so there's no getting away from this, but once we are on thyroxine, the synthetic version of the hormone for the thyroid, basically it shuts down the rest of the functions associated with the thyroid. So the problem with taking a drug to replace a hormone our body isn't making is that it doesn't take into account the reasons why the hormone wasn't being created in the first place. So for example, nutritionally, we need iodine and tyrosine to make thyroxine. So just by giving a drug doesn't replace the fact that there was an iodine and tyrosine deficiency in the background.
Does that mean that because there's a lot of activities that you can do to make serotonin?
Yeah.
I can't look them up. You can look up online what sort of activities help make serotonin. And does that mean that they're affected? They don't make it anymore?
Well, serotonin production is about the gut. So because a lot of medications mess with the microbiome, so therefore every time we take a different medication, don't forget there's never been any studies that have done that say, hey, how will my body cope if I'm on blood pressure medication and cholesterol drugs and pain drugs and thyroid drugs. There's no studies that have ever been done to say, hey, if I whack all of this in there, how's that going to affect my biome and my immune system?
But some activities increase all your hormones, so there must be a way to help rebalance that.
Absolutely. So things like yoga and meditation and sunshine and grounding and, even the whole shake therapy, for your joints, really getting the energy and the lymph, going through those things. This is what I love about saunas and PEMF and infrared, is because it's heating the blood inside, which is increasing the immune system. It's increasing the liver detoxification, it's thinning the blood. So it does a whole bunch of things to help you to move toxins from deeper in the body to out of the body. Hyperbaric oxygen chambers, depending on where you are and what you've got available.
Where they look it up in counselling, we look up activities that help happiness hormones.
Activities that increase happiness hormones.
Yeah, and they include dopamine, serotonin. What are the other main ones?
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin and what's the one you get when you're running?
Adrenaline.
No, the...
dopamine.
Yeah, dopamine, and also there's a natural opioid that comes out from exercise.
So that serotonin, interestingly enough, within this reticular activating system, it's also blowing your thyroid chakra. Now, who knows whether that chakra has messed with energy flows in your body as well? Because when we have a thyroidectomy, here in Australia at least, I'm not sure what it's like where you are, but basically they do a complete slit of the entire throat. So it's about 2-3 inches long. And what that does is a whole bunch of meridians that run through there. So the central meridian that feeds your conscious brain runs straight through there. Your conscious meridian can be messed up if it goes too deep into your body. That's sort of behind the head. Yeah, the stomach meridian goes straight through there as well. The kidney meridian lands just beneath where they do the thyroidectomy. So all of these meridians that run through a bit of scar tissue can actually be blocked. So it's...
Where's the thyroid? Is it on the side?
Thyroid's in here.
On both sides?
Yeah. So it wraps around the esophagus.
Right.
And usually with a thyroidectomy, that means at one stage there was Graves' disease or a hyperthyroid condition. Sometimes it's because of cancer or polyps or cysts. But quite often, if there is a hyperthyroid condition, they remove the thyroid so that they take away the problem, and then they just give people thyroid drugs for the rest of their life. So it's the only organ in the body that they deliberately remove so that they can replace it with synthetic hormones.
Thyroid makes
but the problem is, no, but the thyroid, if the thyroid is suppressed, then it affects every hormone in the body. The thyroid is a real master master organ of the body.
It
So when your thyroid is depressed or not working as well as it should be, you've got less digestion, you've got less detoxification, you've got less sex hormones, you've got less energy, you've got less ability to burn fat, you've got less ability to metabolize things in your body. So it has an overriding effect on everything.
like an integrating effect,
Absolutely.
like the prefrontal cortex.
And that's why in Chinese medicine, it's part of the triple heater or triple warmer meridian. So the three things that go hand in that system is the thyroid, the adrenals, and the immune system. So when your adrenals are overworking because of, toxins or side effects of medications or poor diet or, too much viral particle or environmental pollution or something, then either the adrenals or the thyroid take a back seat. All three of them can't be fully operational simultaneously. It's not the way they work.
Do the adrenals sit on top of the kidneys?
The adrenals are on top of the kidneys. And then when people are on blood pressure medication, quite often that's dehydrating the body. So then the joints, the bones, the muscles, everything gets dehydrated unless people are making a really good effort to drink enough water. Just having another look at the periventricular survival system. Beautiful. Good, good, good. Okay. So there's nothing, let me double check that hidden deep survival pattern now. And hold. Beautiful. Now, out of curiosity, let's see where the thyroid, the heart, and the pancreas are now that we've done one little layer of the periventricular survival system. So firstly, W arms for the thyroid, hold. That's now rock solid.
Back to normal.
Hold back. Beautiful. Pancreas, hold in. Pancreas, hold in, right? So that's a good lock. And then the heart. So puppet arms, hold down at the wrist, hold. Rock solid. Hold down.
Now?
Fantastic. Okay. So now I'm going to go in and just stack in all of those joints again. So again, the legs. So stretching, compressing, stretching. Good. And stretching, compressing, stretching, compressing. So I'm stacking that in.
You
So
just say you had upper right back thing?
Lower right back. Oh, good thinking. I should throw in some muscles.
No, I can just feel the back thing around here.
Oh, right.
In the muscles on the right hand side. Could be me.
Well, because of the lower back issues, we'll also stack in. Good thinking, David. So we'll stack in some things specifically to do with that. So firstly, hold on to the edges of the table. Hold out. Don't let me pull right.
Yeah.
That's not working.
Nothing worked.
Hold out. Don't let me pull left. Okay. So that's the quadratus lumborum. It's in here. And there's just no energy in there whatsoever. Now let's check the fascia lata, either side of the leg. Hold up, I'm coming down and in. Now that one's rock solid. Hold up, coming down and in, rock solid. And then because you're on blood pressure medication, we'll also check the kidney energy, because kidney energy, long-term on blood pressure medications, really screws up the kidneys. Again, unless we're doing something specifically to really help support those systems. And you found that things like N-acetylcysteine and coenzyme Q10.
CoQ10 for the kidneys.
CoQ10 for the kidneys.
NAC for the liver.
N-acetylcysteine for the liver. So David's on a few heart medications
All approved by the cardiologist.
Yeah. So he's been on some things since his heart attacks about 9 months ago now, and at least 2 heart attacks, 2 stents. So Buddy's been using natural therapies as well as the medications. So kidneys. So there's 3 muscle tests on each side. So the first one's the pectineus. Hold up for me. No. Second one, hold up. That's the psoas. The third one, hold up. The iliacus. So the iliacus actually is the high. So it attack these psoas and iliacus attacked on the inside of the hips, and then they attach on the inside of the spine. Psoas is shorter than the iliacus. So the iliacus is doing all the work holding the pelvis in place on the right. So now let's check on the left. Might get your hands off there if that's okay. Pectineus, hold up.
That's
Okay,
better.
that's better. Hold up. And hold up. Interesting. So the left side is actually doing a good job, but two. Yeah, right. So your pain was lower right. So that makes sense with it not being
Just
good
a little
support.
bit higher about here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's where
In
the
the middle, actually.
well.
Oh, oh, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so we've got those muscles stacked in. Actually, I'll throw in these joints again. So shoulders.
Crack. Nice.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, and then let's do the carpal tunnel again. Just stack them in. So thumb and pinky hold together. Okay, thumb and ring finger hold.
Better.
Thumb and middle finger, thumb and pointer. Okay, so there were two that weren't working before, and we haven't even done anything structurally in there yet. Now the pinky with neuropathy. So when we're starting to get the extremities becoming numb, one of the nutrients that's really good for it is lipoic acid, and it depends on the amount of cardiac drugs we're taking as to how much we need of lipoic acid a day. So here in Australia, we can get 600 milligrams of lipoic acid per capsule, and depending on the level of medications people are on, because a few things can cause peripheral neuropathy, you know, so drugs for, say, cholesterol and things for the, you know, beta blockers and even SSRI. So there's a few medications
The statins.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So a few of them can really mess with our peripheral neuropathy. So as a general rule, lipoic acid is one of the things I check for that. So anyway, so there was only one finger. Earlier on there were two. So let's check the left. So again, thumb and pinky.
Oh,
No.
that nearly helped.
Ring and finger. Okay, so again, we've improved by one finger on each side, even though we haven't done anything structurally in there yet. Okay. So where are we going next? So again, is there any survival, deep survival, hidden deep survival, adrenal stuff? There's something else, okay? So let's have a look. So I've got a bit of a checklist here. Yeah, no, I did some training the other day, so we'll just use that little checklist. Body polarity. Okay, so do I need to do celestial circuit prior to this? Do I need to do Chiron point? Health is good, wealth is good. No, no, no. Is there anything else I need to do before we work on some polarity? There is something emotional. Okay, we need to, there's some cranial stress in there that we've sort of got to clear a little bit first. So I'll go in and because you've been a weightlifter for a long time, I'll sort of just double check because maybe there's something going on with the neck where things just aren't working as well as they should. I'll check the anterior atlas first. So inside the mouth, David, poke your tongue to the left, tongue to the right, tongue to the left. Yeah, that's not working. Okay, so the atlas is out, it's jutting slightly forward. So we need to get that back into position. So with this one, Dimitris, if you sort of jut your jaw forward a little bit and then just massaging that little joint there, you know, to support it home.
Where the jaw,
Yeah.
where the jaw.
Yeah, but what I'm going to do, so I'll get you to jut your chin forward a little bit. Yep, breathe in and out. And breathe in and out.
I'm not quite saw that, and that's making me.
Yeah, so the jaw condyles are quite jammed as well. Okay, breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And in underneath here, this will be a bit tender. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. So one of the things, Dimitris, that you can do as well, whenever your jaw feels tight, you know, sort of give that little jaw a bit of a massage. You can buy little vibrator guns online that if you get a good one, you can basically even do like externally, you know, on the jaw, you know, if you get a good one with the perfect level of vibration. Mine isn't there, I must have lent it to someone. But basically you can sort of do the vibration from the vibrator guns, you know, on the jaw. You could do it, you know, in your chest to sort of increase the circulation to your shoulders and your heart. Again, if you've got a good one, then you can use it all over the place to support your healing.
We don't realise how much work the jaw does.
Oh, the jaw is one of the first things to switch on with stress, trauma and pain. So part of it is when we clench our jaw, it allows us to lift heaps more than we could. And as a bodybuilder,
True.
you can imagine that jaw clenching while you're trying to lift something.
Or just working hard.
And then working hard 8 hours a day as well. When you're lifting really heavy things, the jaw is very involved. But what happens with the jaw, when it stays locked on, it unlocks muscles supporting the lower, the backs, the hips, the digestive tract. So therefore a whole bunch of this stuff can be out of kilter as well. Oh, and I wanted to check for a whiplash. So I might take your glasses off for a sec, David. So now I'm going to check 5 muscles on the front of the neck. So lift, hold up for me in the center, hold. Now turn to 10 degrees and hold up. Turn to 30 degrees, hold up. Okay. 10 degrees, hold up. 30 degrees, hold up. Right, so not so bad, but on the right, when the head is turned, the muscles aren't activating. So quite often what that means is that the rear of the neck, where our survival patterns are stored, there's a lot of over energy in there, and there's a lack of energy in the front, which means our brain spends about 60% more energy holding our head on our neck, on our shoulders. Now hold down, don't let me lift up. That one's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to run the stomach meridian. We're getting into the polarity in a sec. So again, lift and turn, it was a 30, and hold up for me. Beautiful. Now, hold down, I want you to resist, hold down, and head up again. And don't let me push down, hold. Yeah, right, so you've got a classic whiplash in there. So once we got the front neck muscles up and running, and then we activated the ones at the rear. So in other words, if these ones are too tight, what's happening in the front of the neck? And your neck went, nah, I got nothing. So.
I feel I've got the same issues.
Well, it's pretty common in that whole post-50-year-old, you know, as things start to, you know, we have more stress as we get older a lot of the time. Ironic. Okay, so again, lift the, hold the head down for me, hold.
Hold it.
And then lift the head up, and hold. Beautiful. Now, just to make sure the feet aren't involved, I can't remember anything you said about your feet, but I'm going to get you to open your jaw, lift your head, hold up nice and strong. No, okay. So
Is that not a hold?
No, that was a hold. So if that had have unlocked, no, that was a good hold. If that had have unlocked, it means the calcaneus in the heel is actually jamming the base of the occiput. So the feet and the occiput are very, very much linked as well, but not for you, which is great.
That be a gait problem?
Can be a gait problem. And again, because there's a big physical... Well, the gait as in the way that the body moves around in the world. I always think of gait more in relation to fight and flight and freeze, because that's, you know, the So just relaxing for a sec. Let's just ask in relation to any and all gait issues for Dimitris. So it's more a right-sided one. It's not too bad actually, but we might check the big muscles again, just because you've got a lot of, physical challenges with your work. So we'll check the arms and legs individually first. Hold. So they're working. Hold up. Hold up. Beautiful. Okay. So what could go wrong? So now let's test them in combo. So left leg, right arm. Hold up nice and strong. That one's pretty good. Left arm, right leg, and hold. That one's pretty good. Now let's check the same side. Hold up for me. Oh, hello. There goes the leg. And hold up for me. And there goes the leg. So as soon as you're one-sided, so that's sort of like, say, boxing, so one leg, one arm. But there's all sorts of things that we do, in our daily life that use one side or the other. But when you're doing these two, we lose the body strength in the lower body. So we just need to fix that. So let's just ask whether or not we can use these little guys. So in the same way, no, it's not that, okay. So in the same way that I said, if you give the bottom of your feet a good massage every morning before you put your boots on to switch on your feet, talking to the rest of the body, there's also between the toes, sort of like the little area where the toes meet, above the toes, that area in there, if you give them a little rub, it also helps with the muscles communication. So it helps with the gaits.
So sore on top.
Right, and yours are sore, are they, David?
They're always sore. Right there in between the...
Yeah.
It's always sore.
You do love a foot massage, don't you?
Yeah, I get a bit of peripheral neuropathy too.
Yeah, okay. How long have you been getting that?
I think when I reduced the statins, it improved.
Okay. So the statins were causing some peripheral neuropathy with
And
David?
cramps, but I just take a half dose.
And he now takes very little of it.
Maybe a third.
Okay, so let's check again. So right arm, right leg, hold. Good. And right arm, right leg, hold. And then if you think about what that means energetically, same side is also about fight. So if you think about fight, flight, freeze, so that's almost like the fights are exhausted. So when the same side, leg and arm doesn't lock together, same side, leg and arm doesn't lock together, the fights are buggered. Okay, so let's go have a look now. The polarity, is that still the priority? Yes, it is. Okay. So let's see what the priority combos are. Okay, so we're talking liver, gallbladder, heart, small intestine. So firstly, we've got to do heart and small intestine. So beginning and end points of the heart. And then beginning and end points of the small intestines. It's inside the ear, I think. Just a sec. Yep. Okay, so stacking in both of those and hold. Okay, so it's either balanced or in second stage stress. Hold. Okay, so it's in second stage stress, the combination of the heart and small intestine. So does that mean it is running backwards? Is it jammed? So it's stalled. Okay, so that combination of meridians is stalled. They're supposed to shunt. There's two sort of meridians that shunt. One shunts the next one along, and it keeps this energy flowing around our heart, small intestine. So when these meridians get blocked or jammed or stalled or running backwards, we don't have enough voltage on the meridians. And funnily enough, that's anger reducing the voltage in there.
Drink much water?
Are you a good water drinker, Dimitris? It's good to get some Celtic sea salt or something like that and have that in your water. Keep those mineral levels.
We're an electrical circuit.
We are an electrical circuit as human beings, exactly. And even a tiny little bit of a purified bicarb soda morning and night as well can help to up-regulate your electrical charge on your meridians.
Oh, does it? Oh, as well as alkaloids.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now we'll stack them in again. So heart. So again, the end of the heart meridian, beginning of the heart meridian, stack them in.
How much bicarb?
Half a teaspoon. Yeah. And hold. but never with a meal.
Uh,
If you take
an hour before and an hour after.
yeah. So if you ever take bicarb soda with a meal, you actually shut down your hydrochloric acid production, and that's not a good thing. We need hydrochloric acid. So we need it in our stomach, and as we get older, we release it by about 5% less per year. So when we're 25, we've got the most hydrochloric acid as we do in our life. By the time we're 50, we're making about half of what we did when we were 25. And by the time we're 60, we're making about 20% of what we did when we were 25.
Is that a part of putting on weight when you're older?
Oh, weight affects everything badly.
Yeah, but less hydrochloric acid means that you put on weight because you're not digesting as
Yeah,
well.
that's right.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it doesn't help at all.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So again, let's stack those little guys in again. So heart, small intestine, and again hold. So it's either second stage stress or balanced, and hold. Okay, we're back down to balanced for that polarity. So that's the connection between the small intestine and the heart meridian, which all goes from the shoulder, you know. So it's the pinky to in here, and it's the ring finger to in here. So there's a whole bunch of energy down through there that just hasn't been functioning as well as it should from a meridian perspective. So now let's check it on the left. So heart, beginning and end. Oh, sorry, heart, and small intestine. So again, is it first, second, third stage stress? Hold. So it's either balanced or in second stage stress. And hold, second stage. Okay, so it's locking and it's not unlocking, which means it's second stage stress. So again, I'll just check the meridian, the amygdala. So again, that one's linked to an old pain punishment circuit. Anyone who's had a heart attack and heart surgery, there can be a fear that sort of kicks on into their body that just stays there forever. So calming that down is really important. As one of the longevity things we can do, keeping calm, even in a crazy mixed up world, is really important. Okay, so again, so small intestine and heart, and hold. Beautiful. Okay, so that's back to balanced with the left and right sides with the heart and small intestine. Let's go in and have a look. Is there more polarity? Yes, there is. Okay, so again, liver, gallbladder, heart, small intestine, circ-sex, triple warmer. Okay, so so this is interesting because all fall within the fire element. So in Chinese medicine, there's different elements. There's the fire, the earth, the metal, the water, the wood. And there's different organs that connect with each of these meridians, or each of these elements, sorry. So the element we're talking about at the moment with heart, small intestine, circulation of the sex organs, and triple warmer, it's fire. So thinking about that energy in your body. I'll tell you a story about that once I kick these two meridians into action. So, circ-sex and triple heater. Beginning and end points. Pardon?
Meridians are a flow thing, aren't they?
Yes.
Energy flow. Is that right?
Yeah. So, triple warmer is ring finger and outside of the eyebrow. And circ-sex is middle finger and outside the nipple. Okay. So on the right, and hold. Okay, so it's an unlock, so it's either in first or third stage stress. And hold. Okay, so it's first stage stress.
Is that better or worse?
It doesn't matter. Well, it's less long-term potentially, but it's underactive. So when it's overactive, there's more energy in a meridian, but it's got to be flowing. Yeah, so in Chinese medicine, we talk about Father, Son, and Mother Earth. So the meridians, and it's sort of like this. So the meridians that go from your toes to your torso, that's sort of from Mother Earth to Father, Sun. They're the yang organs, or from the torso to the fingers in this direction. They're the masculine, the yang meridians. The ones that go from Father, Sun to Mother Earth are the yin meridians. So heart is feminine, small intestine is masculine. The circulation of the sex organs is feminine. The triple heater is masculine. So we connect these, you know, this is the whole yin yang of Chinese medicine. It's very cool. Okay, so again, let's get those circumflex and the adrenals. And again, hold. Hold. Yeah, but the fire element and heat it's sort of interesting, because one of my clients years and years and years ago, she turned up and she had a rash from head to toe. And I sort of, she said, please, can I book in for an appointment today? So that's an unlock. It's either first or third stage stress. And hold. It's a third stage stress on the left here. So there's exhaustion. It could be the shoulder, because all of this runs through the shoulder. So because see, again, the triple heater is to do with thyroid, adrenals, and immune system. So when we're, you know, and you're working hard, there's no way you can get through a day like that. When we're not 25, if you're working really hard all day, every day, then your body can have to run on adrenaline to get through everything. Anyway, so on the left side, those two meridians that go through the shoulders, the triple heater and the circulation of the sex organs, or pericardium it's also known as. Yeah, third stage stress, chronic fatigue, exhaustion of those
does
two.
Does adrenaline affect the kidneys?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like having a bully living next door.
On top of them, right?
It's like having drug dealers living next door. Yeah, constantly on edge. And the adrenals make 62 hormones. So it's a busy little organ, and if you've got that stress and pain, because pain also activates the adrenals, it means that the kidneys take a back seat again, you know. So the adrenals can slow down the thyroid or mess it up. The adrenals can mess with our immune systems. There's fear, threat, danger in there. So on this left side, the emotion being connected in with those two meridians is fear, threat, danger. Okay, so circumflex and triple heater. And again, we were in third stage stress, hold.
Holding good.
So it's either second stage stress or balanced. Well, it's in second stage stress. So we've gone from third stage stress to second. Okay. So it's not amygdala, obviously. More of the same, more of something else, more of something else. Oh, we could use some tuning forks. Okay. So with the affirmation, without the affirmation. Okay. And is it these two? Yep. Yeah, so this story about this client who turned up. Is your lower back hurting?
My knee. Thank you. Under.
That better?
Yeah, will be.
Yeah, so that client who had the turned up with the rash from head to toe, I got her into a consult and I said, so, because I'd seen her like a week before, she was just this absolutely beautifully stunning 30-year-old with this perfect family, perfect husband, perfect life. Well, not so perfect when he screws around. So he basically was having an affair. She found out. She got a rash from head to toe. Instantly, she found out what he was up to. So the sympathetic nervous system, the nervous system that drives the stress, trauma, and that sort of thing, it can be involved in this fire element, which create, you know, so the Chinese talk about excess heat, excess trauma, excess stress. Like there's an excess of heat in the body.
So that inflammation.
Oh, yeah. So it can start with emotion and just morph into anything.
That's interesting because it can be a heart attack symptom or like sweating and you got a heat. The stress restricts the arteries.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I'm just like putting two and two together.
No, cool. So again, let's have a look at the polarity on the left. So again, we got triple heater. Oops, sorry. Triple heater. Then we got circumflex. So we went from third stage stress to second stage. Hold. Hold. Ah, that's better. Hold. And you can feel it, can't you? So when it's a lock, it's just a lock. sometimes the lock is there, but it's like really, you know, working hard to be a lock. That's like the second stage
Yeah,
stress.
but even if you're really strong, the muscle still gives way. It's so bizarre.
It is bizarre. It's so cool. We were chatting to a doctor before, and one of the first times I ever did kinesiology on him, and things were unlocking, and he was just trying to work it out in his brain. He was like, "That's outrageous," which is just funny.
It is. It's sort of not quite logical.
Yes.
The left-hand side of your brain goes, what?
Well, and that's a funny thing about him, because when he first realised that kinesiology seemed to be real, then he had to have a look at all his medical stuff and go, well, if this is going on energetically in the body, then what is all this I've been taught? I'll turn him into a witch. So again, is there any more polarity stuff going on? So heart, small intestine, circ, triple heater, spleen, stomach, lung, large intestine, kidney, bladder. So kidney, bladder is also showing up. And we had the couple of muscles on the right that relate to the kidney meridian, and we also had the peroneus brevis on both pinky toes when we started, which also relates to the bladder. So we've got to make sure these two meridians are flowing properly. So kidneys.
Just to right, is there any work you want to do on the back?
Not yet. Okay, so there's heart. We probably won't have time today. Bladder. Under the eyes. Sorry, I've gone blank. Where is the beginning of the bladder meridian? Oh, yes, it is. So I'll get you to touch both of these points, David.
Mm-hmm. That's where the meridian starts?
Yeah, and down here's 67. Beautiful. Okay, so let's have a squeeze and hold. Okay, so it's an unlock, so it's either first or third stage stress. Hold. Okay, so it's first stage on the right. Let's check the left. Hold. So it's either locked or balanced. Hold. Oh, actually, it's actually balanced on the left, so we don't need to worry about that side.
What's this, the meridian?
This is the polarity of the meridian, so the polarity connection between the bladder and the kidney meridians.
Polarity means?
The amount of electrical charge that's on the meridian. What was the word I used before? The amount of amps, the amount of voltage. Okay, so again, pop that point there to the right side of your nose. Okay, so that's the bladder. And then kidney, hold that little point there. Good. And hold. Hold. Okay, so we're back to balanced with that one. Is there any further polarity issues? Okay, so again with the elements, so water, wood, fire, earth, metal. No. So all the meridians are flowing really nicely now. Okay, so let's have a squeeze. Okay, so in relation to any and all challenges associated with the sweating, link into double anterior deltoid and hold. Okay.
That wasn't a hold.
That wasn't a hold. Okay, so where do we need to go? So adrenal, survival, hidden deep survival, any major organs. Immune system. Okay. Okay, so with the immune system, especially when you've been on medications for quite some time, it's always worth going and checking out the side effects of medications, especially when you've been on them for quite some time. And sometimes we forget what we know. So it's not a bad idea for you to have a look now at your symptoms in relation to the medications that they've had you on for a lot of years. Because sometimes when you go and have a look at the medications, it empowers you to go and speak to your doctor and say, hey, I'm getting this. Could this be because of my medication? And sometimes they can try another one that might be less problematic for us. So, but also the longer we're on these medications, the more it changes our biome and our microbiome. So then potentially we might end up with issues with our gut, with problems like inability to digest carbohydrates, inability to digest, say, dairy, inability to get rid of pesticides, inability to get rid of plant toxins, inability to break down our proteins properly. So the longer we're on medications, the less effective our gut can be at moving things through our body. So just again, we can chat via message, email with that. So let's go back. Your body is saying that there's something here with the immune system, which got me onto that little.
Is that kidney level?
Sorry?
Is that kidney level?
The kidneys are here. Yeah.
That's what that level.
So the immune system. Not too bad in the clear. Let me just check your notes. Okay, that's right, because I had the temperatures in there. So in relation to changes of temperature, internal metabolism, and hold. Like I'm wondering.
That wasn't a hold.
Hold, no.
Neither was that.
Yeah.
No.
So the immune system, there's something about the immune system that isn't functional in relation to keeping your metabolism up and running.
None of them held at all.
No, and quite often when we're getting that excess heat, if it's a problem, it's because there's poor circulation somewhere in your body, and at some stage your body's going, right, we need a whoosh of energy.
Could that be a lack of hydration, water?
It can be a lack of hydration, it can be toxins in the body, it could be the thyroid, because thyroid medications don't do what the thyroid...
Sweating is, the skin's what do you call it?
Detox organ.
Detox organ.
Yeah, so people who... Yeah. So it definitely releases stuff when we sweat. But yeah, I do find that unless you calm that nervous system down, the sweating continues, because it can be that sympathetic nervous system driven.
Yeah, because sweat increases with stress.
Yes. And also if your microbiome has changed and your stress is so high, if you eat a meal that your body can't digest, and your liver is really chunking it through, your liver can swell by about 20% within 40 minutes of an inflammatory diet for you, and everyone's different. So we'll have to do another session on which foods and things that you can digest and stuff. But yeah, so the first step is really calming down the survival patterns, getting the joints and energy traveling through your system, making sure all your meridians and your organs are up and running. So then the body's in a nice, structured, balanced space.
Can digestion problems cause that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I was sitting with a lady the other day, the sweating and stuff, and she was complaining to me about the fact that she's been, for probably like 6 months or a year, a few times a day, she just gets really red ears, red face, and she starts to sweat.
And the sweating is...
And it's embarrassing,
the sweating's stinkier.
Well, she didn't mention that, but that's...
Oh, when I'm stressed, it does.
Yeah. She would wear all sorts of pretty perfumes and stuff, knowing that.
Yeah, right.
So maybe she wouldn't even notice that. Or certainly she did not mention it to me. But while we were sitting there, I'd taken a little... Because she was meeting to pick up some supplements from me, and I took a little baggie of goodies to sort of test with her. And one of the things was, there's a product called glucofactors. So
I was
for
just going to ask about that.
Yeah.
It's got digestive enzymes for protein and carbohydrate, I think.
Yeah, so the herbs are really bitter. So the bitterness of herbs can stimulate hydrochloric acid, but it can also cause the pancreas to function better, as well as cause a better acid alkalinity within the bloodstream. And when we're stressed and our sympathetic nervous system's overly working, we can end up with a higher acid level in the bloodstream. So our whole body's homeostasis is being set for being more acidic and more acidic and more acidic.
That's interesting. When I take that, it gives me reflux.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. Oops.
I like it though.
Yeah, so what she noted, she sent me a message the next day and said that she hadn't flushed once since she was taking it.
Oh, really?
So, you know how it says on
Is
the
she
jar?
perimenopausal or?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, sorry, I just hot flushes. I'm married.
Perimenopause is not a disease.
No, I know, but glycofactors can help with it.
But yeah, so well, insulin drives a lot of inflammation. And this is the problem
Okay,
again
here
when
we
you're
go.
taking insulin, you know, because when you're taking insulin, again, you're bypassing the pancreas. So the pancreas itself does a lot more than just insulin. So when we're having to inject insulin into our body, the pancreas organ takes a back seat. When we're taking the thyroid hormone, our thyroid takes a back seat. So you've got a heart that you're overriding with blood pressure and, you know, medications for your heart. You've got a thyroid being overridden by thyroxine. You've got a pancreas being overridden by insulin. And who knows how they're affecting everything else in your body. At the very least, being on these drugs, they can shut down your gut and your liver over a long period of time, because the liver can build up the residue of this drug and just can't get them out of the body. What did I hear this morning that it was a food thing, like I was listening to Gary Brecker. Actually, I don't know whether you've seen this, Dimitris, but there's a guy called Gary Brecker. He's got a podcast called The Ultimate Human, and he's got a recent interview in there with a guy called Asim Malhotra. So I don't know whether you've heard about him, but he's a UK cardiologist who got in big trouble over the last 5 years because he was saying things. And basically it's a really good, fantastic overview of health and the heart and what's real and what's not within the science of the cardiacs, in that science cardiac sphere. Okay, so again with the sweating, so adrenal, survival, deep survival, hidden deep survival, and something else with the immune system. Okay, so in relation to any and all food toxins. And hold. Okay. Hold. 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 Oh, it was something like it was vegetable oils. So vegetable oils, I'm not sure what your diet's like. But there's also, on the Gary Brecker Ultimate podcast, he's got a little thing that's about 10 minutes long that talks about vegetable oils and how originally they were developed to be lubricants, you know, so they weren't developed for the human body. And then because they were low in cholesterol, all the people around the world went, well, yay, this is the new thing for heart disease. But what's happened over the last 30, 40 years is that most of our vegetable oils, in fact, I think he said that the average American has about 30 pounds per year, which is so much because everything's in them. You go get some hot chips, they're dunked in awful oils. You go and, you know, just about everything. When you had a look, I was trying to buy some garlic bread last weekend, and I thought, oh, well, I'll just get a sourdough and butter garlic bread. So even the ones that advertise that they've got butter in there, there's also vegetable oils and margarine. So these vegetable oils are in so much processed food. So again, the more we can cook at home with the proper oils, the olive oil, the coconut oil, I'm not a coconut fan, the ghee, the butter, the better our oil ratio will be on our cell membranes. And the higher the level of omega-3s on our cell membranes, the lower all-cause mortality we have. So in other words, the higher the anti-inflammatory action on our cell walls, the less likely we are to die of anything. So those vegetable oils. So in this Gary Brecker one, he does a nice overview. Again, it's fairly recent because he's got a detox thing starting, you know, in the next week or two.
So omegas are in nuts and seeds, right?
Yep. So nuts and seeds and avocados and yeah. And then for the metasauruses, you know, it's sort of in things like organic red meats, you know, all the things like salmon and the oily fish. They're all really nice and high in omegas. I never knew that red meat was high in omega-3. Like, that's something that they never taught us down, you know, years ago. But I know of people who, for the heart, sort of wake up in the morning and have like a a tablespoon of olive oil, you know, just straight neat in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and
Is that
because,
good?
yeah,
I should do that.
yeah, because it's a cheap thing that we can do. It's starting the day with fats, which stimulates the body to kick into ketosis. One of the best things we can do for our heart is being on a low carbohydrate diet, which is obviously good for the diabetes as well. You have to think about the pain in your body, what's driving that inflammation. So stress can drive inflammation, diet can drive inflammation, sugar can drive inflammation, these vegetable oils can drive inflammation. The processed foods, you know, so processed foods are really bad for us. There's just no nutrition. So it's like a vampire. It goes into our body and it depletes our minerals and vitamins and gives nothing in return.
Sounds like glyphosate.
Does sound like glyphosate. Well, if Dimitris is in Europe, there'd be less over there, but I think it's sneaking in everywhere these days. Okay, we've run out of time. Let's sort of see where we need to go. So let's have a squeeze. So what I'll do as well is send you an email with a couple of just things that I know that work for me in my clinic. You might be able to get similar things over there. Hopefully you're on a low carbohydrate diet as a diabetic. Hopefully, you know, so getting some minerals in, because like I said, you know, even though we're on things like thyroxine, the deficiencies are still in the background. So some really good nutrient support in the background for the joints. Things like purified fish oils or a couple of oily fish per week, or increasing your nuts and seeds if you don't have oxalate issues. But maybe if we'll chat about it. But if you wanted to reschedule again in like 2 to 8 weeks or something, and maybe do a big foodie thing next time and check out what foods and supplements, or I can run the bioresonance for you, or anyway, we can chat. Send me an email. Well, let me just double check that we've touched on everything. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, actually, what we didn't do was the little pinky finger with the carpal tunnel. Hold. Yeah. So basically that is, with carpal tunnel, the front of the arm is the brachioradialis. And quite often with carpal tunnel, and again, because you're doing so much lifting in your job, you can imagine all those little bones in your wrist, or big bones, but you know, they can get really jammed, and that can push on the nerves going through to your hand. So then you end up with, you know, numbness and tingling. So if it's a structural thing, then sort of massaging, you know, that brachioradialis, you know, getting that in there. I can send you a link with something that's really good for pain relief as well, the Redox Gold, I'm thinking. But basically, there's a few things that we can try. There's also something that increases stem cell production, blah, blah, blah. I'll send you an email. So basically what I'm going to do is just move that brachioradialis on both sides.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it? Because those two bones in here, the radius and ulna, they just get jammed in the wrong position, and then the brachioradialis, which overworks when we're lifting and doing a hard job, and hold together for me.
I'm sure I've got that problem.
So now that's holding for the first time, and hold.
How's that?
So from a physical perspective, making sure you give your joints a bit of a, you know, shake around and get that lymph, you know, moving in your body,
like that,
you know,
right?
and all of the joints as well, you know, the areas that you're feeling numbness, you know, and sort of even from the hip, you know, giving it a good shake, you know, from your hip, and with your spine, you know, pretending you're climbing a rope, you know, so that you sort of stretch both sides of the spine.
In good yoga, you shake your whole body.
Yeah. So there's lots of stuff we can chat about, but well, I'll stack that in for your energy. Okay. This is a new program for this body now, and in the future, the old program for this body is no longer necessary now in the future. Hallelujah and amen.
Amen.
Awesome. Thank you, Dimitris. We'll get this up and running for you, and hopefully you'll have it when you wake up in the morning. Thanks, David.
You gotta switch me back to
I
that
better
thing.
switch you back. Do you want to be 100% you? 75? Yeah. I am 100% David.
I'm 100% David.
And hold. 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 And hold. Beautiful.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, how was the mat, David?
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Nice and warm.
Talk soon.